Oh, as for the challenges Ghana Water Company has been facing, it's historical. The truth of the matter is that our population growth rate is not something that you can use in any planet. And in developing any water supply system, you take population growth rate into consideration. You build a system to cover a number of people within a particular number of people. And if the population outgrows the planning processes, those challenges will continue to come. And that is where we are today. Because if you look at the rate at which Accra is growing, it's unimaginable. All the production sectors that we have been exhausted. And so we try as much as possible to do demand supply management. That we know Ghanaians notice they don't get 24/7, and for that matter, they have containers in their homes. And so every time the water is running, they store. And so we now have that opportunity to look elsewhere to supply the other people that if otherwise we were supplying everybody, they wouldn't have got it. So we've been doing that for a very long time. And just when the president came out with the issue of COVID-19, we issued a statement, which was sent out by Stanley. And that's where he tried to bring out some of the issues that we have and encourage Ghanaians to continue to store. Because if you don't store it, it is not possible to move everybody 24/7. Somebody just called you and mentioned that Dodua, their water is good because the line passes through Dodua. And so as the line is coming, people draw. So those downstream, by the time the water gets to their side, it's finished. And there's nothing you can do about it because the numbers have increased. And the rate at which people consume water has also increased because of our lifestyle. And so those challenges are there. We'll try to work on most of them and trying to also look at our material and leading them up to where we're going on with it.
Now, Mr. Marty said on a sister radio station a few days ago that Ghana Water Company Limited is ready to meet the increased demand. He said that, and I quote, they had requested all regions to up their production a bit. He said demand has gone high, people will need more water, so we'll increase a bit so that we can meet the demand. What are these efforts that have been made, and how is it that after this statement we are still getting people saying they are not getting water supply?
Exactly, it's still the same thing, because normally when they build a system, we have a little excess over our capacity. And so if you ask them to stretch, they can stretch some of the production, but how far can they stretch the capacity? And so you've done that, but you still realize that the population still outstrips also the demand still outstrips your supply. And so we want to strictly go by the supply demand management, so that when people are not getting in their areas, then we call on the various lines so that people will come and attend to you. Some of the people complaining, the problems are localized. Because even before this issue, we've had several complaints about people, only for you to send your technical team to realize that, somebody's house has a problem, and it's a localized area and not for everybody. But if you make it come to the air, as if the whole area is having that difficulty, it creates panic. And so we put out a lot of numbers for people to call anytime there is an issue. I'm going to ask that we send out another circular today, where particular regions that in Accra, for example, we have 3 distribution regions. We have Accra West, we have Accra East, and we have Tema. We put all the numbers out so that if you are around Tema and there's an issue, you call the Tema line and they will get technical officers to come and then attend to you directly.
Now, Dr. Brahma, forgive me if I misheard, but you said that we can't provide or produce enough water to meet the demand that you need to meet as Ghana Water Company Limited. Is that correct? I'm sorry, I seem to be losing you, Dr. Brahma. Please reposition yourself. Hello? Limited, GWCL. We'll soon be speaking to Madam Cecilia Abena Dapa, who is the Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. So a quick recap of what we've learned so far. Now, there's a statement, an important statement Dr. Brima made, which I wanted to seek clarification on, which is that the Ghana Water Company Limited is unable to meet the demand when it comes to water supply across the city. Well, across the country, I must say. He said that it is true that the various regions have upped production of water, but it's still going to be difficult to meet all our demands. And so some interim measures are going to be suggested. Now, that is exactly what we want to get some clarity on. Whether or not it is a fact that the Water Company Limited is currently unable to meet all of our needs, and what some of those interim measures are, especially since we are in this period of lockdown, and some people are not getting the private water suppliers to come to their homes with tankers to fill their tanks. It's your Super Morning Show. You can send in messages if you've heard something that piques your interest on 0244-340-437. I have this one from my good friend Daniel Sabute, who says, you can't believe in the month there's been no water here in Pram Pram. I personally went to the water company twice and different stories were told. Yesterday, I got another 2 different versions. I bought water for 50, next time it was 75. I can pay, but what about the lady next door? A lot more messages coming in. Another one from Tonkatamanso. He says, you did not add your name to that one, pardon me. He said, please, I live in Tonkatamanso. It's been more than a week without water running through our taps. We're at Ekropon Ikiapim, also no water for the past 1 week. This is coming from Kofi Amwa at Latte Junction. We go back to the lines and speak to Dr. Clifford Brima. Now, Dr. Brima, I just wanted to get clarity on this point that you raised. Is it the case that currently Ghana Water Company Limited does not have enough water to meet the demand when it comes to your customers?
That's exactly so, because you have production centers. In the whole of the country, Ghana Water Company has 89 production centers, and each production unit has its capacity. And the capacity is supposed to last for a number of years, because that's how we develop them. And by the time you meet that demand, you would have developed new systems to take up. That's why every year we develop new systems in the country, and the government supports. This year particularly, government is going to spend almost $1 billion to invest in water. This is to take care of the next 3-4 years, because it will take 4 years to finish constructing a water project. And so, if the population growth is not controlled properly, and it goes beyond what you use in calculating the numbers, of course you are going to lose out. And that's exactly what we are facing as of now in Ghana, especially in Accra. People are moving into Accra. The population is growing at a rate that you cannot even determine. And so, Accra is moving laterally. And so people are extending to areas where they shouldn't go. And once they get the demand water, because everybody will have to use water, it affects our planning. It affects the volumes that we have. And so you have to extend water to them.
Just on a quick point that you raised regarding population growth, at the last census, we had a population of about 25 million. And now, in last year, with the Ghana Living Standard Survey 6, it quoted the population estimate as about 30 million. That has grown. That shows that it has grown at a very predictable rate. I mean, that's 5 million difference in about 10 years. That's not even up to the 2.2% growth rate, which was determined back in 2017. So how is it difficult then for the Ghana Water Company to estimate by how much our population is growing?
Ghana Water Company supplies water to urban population of Ghana. And these averages you are looking at is when you take both the rural and the urban areas into consideration. And you are aware that the rural areas are becoming depopulated and Ghana is becoming urbanized. What it means is that people are moving. But if you aggregate everything, you still come to a very simple and manageable percentage. But you come to Accra. Let's find out what the population was at the time in Accra and what is the population now today. You can even see by not calculating or but not any scientific thing, by just view of the traffic within the system. Then you know that Accra is growing faster than whatever estimates that would have come. But the 2.2 that you are talking about, that's national. And national is an aggregate of the individual units. So we are now looking at the various units where we are dealing with. And that the units that we are dealing with, the population growth rate exceeds the national average.
That's fair, Dr. Brima, and forgive my ignorance, but we know that according to UN figures, Africa is supposed to see over 50% of its population living in urban areas by the year 2030. That tells us that the rapid urbanization of our population is a known fact that, again, we should be able to determine and accommodate for, no?
That is where population is being controlled. But in our setting, are you aware that in the next 5 years, more than 60% of Ghana is going to be urban? As of now, we are about 50% urban population in Ghana. And so we have gone past what those international organizations are giving. So we will have to zoom on our own developmental parameters, not use the international one. Because if you want to use the averages, the international, the global ones, you might always miss the mark. And so we will have to zoom on that. And that's why we are saying that what is confronting us today is that our urban population have outgrown, because the water that we produced yesterday is the same water that we are producing today.
Forgive me for
the numbers. If you check the numbers, you realize that our regulators are aware the numbers still stand. But the rate at which people complain is increasing, because if each of us is supposed to take 120 liters per person per day, and we're dealing with 10,000 people, and tomorrow it becomes 20,000 people, and we are supposed to also produce the 120 per person per day. Of course, if I want to give 120 per person per day, I will have to give 2 days. And that the 20,000 population will have to be divided into 10. When I give you today, then you get your 120 and store. So that tomorrow, if I don't give you, you still get your 120 from your storage. And that's exactly what we are trying to encourage Ghanaians to adopt. So that we do this supply-demand management, and the difficulties will go. But we have our own human problems. That an area is supposed to get water today, and somebody goes to throttle a valve because our valves are open, and then they divert it from where it's supposed to go to another. Unless there is a complaint, then you go there, then you realize that no, somebody has tampered with your valve. And that's why Ghana Water Company continue to urge Ghanaians to let us support the system, because it's for all of us. The company is wholly owned by the people of Ghana, and so we will have to encourage and support Ghana Water Company so that we'll be able to deliver in this trying time.
Forgive my belaboring the point, Dr. Brimer, but are you not then admitting that we are aware, and I just learned this statistic from you, that we are going to hit the 50% urbanization mark in 5 years? And since we are aware of this, how come we are not able to plan for our urban population and provide enough water?
No, we are doing just that. I've just told you that government is investing about over $1 billion this year. And the production or the development of water systems also takes some time. It takes between 3, 4, 5 years to complete. And so if we start putting the water plant today, it will yield probably in 4, 5 years' time. And that's exactly what we are doing. So we have now noticed the challenges we've had in this country. And so we are taking these proactive measures to ensure that going forward, we are able to go over the problems. If I tell you the system we inherited and where we have taken it to, it will amaze. I'm just even thinking that after this hula balloon, we should organize a press visit. Then we take all the pressmen to all our production centers, especially in Accra, for you to see that systems that are over 60 years, Ghana Water Company staff are still managing them and giving us water that we should do. And so we've come to meet a challenge. We've taken it upon ourselves, and we will make sure we deliver on them. But we can no longer be complaining, because if you complain, that's why you take assets and liabilities. We have taken it, and we are bracing ourselves to make sure that we continue. You can tell, though people are complaining, but we will have some relatively stabilized supply system in the country as of now. And so we are not just sitting down without doing anything, and the staff of Ghana Water Company are prepared. People who might have 1 or 2 people who might not be doing the right thing, but overall, we have people who are dedicated and they work 24/7 to ensure that things work the way we want.
Right. Dr. Brimer, since we know that we are at a point where we cannot supply water to everyone as a company, what happens to those who do not have water? Are there any stopgap arrangements that we are able to enter, for instance, with the private sector, so that they have a regular water supply particularly when we have entered a period like this, where running water is essential.
Yeah, that is why we have these tanker services. Ghana Water Company itself has stayed away from doing tanker services, so that the tanker services are supposed to deliver water to areas where we are not reaching. So they come and take our treated water in their containers, and then they do to deliver it at those places for us. And that's what we do. We also have a drilling unit that goes around to drill boreholes in areas where we are supposed to be reaching and we cannot reach. Community water is also there. They are doing their best in the peri-urban and then the rural areas. And that is how, together, we try to resolve the water situation in Ghana.
On this tanker situation, yesterday, we had our friends calling us, particularly from Spintex Road and beyond, who are telling us that the tankers which are supposed to supply water to them are not working during this time of lockdown. And for instance, we had Maoli and Kwabna call us from Spintex yesterday and report this situation to them. Has this come to your notice as MD of Ghana Water Company Limited? And
not at all.
Well, since you mentioned that is Ghana Water Company Limited's strategy in filling the gap of water supply in the country, the private sector, what arrangements did we make ahead of the lockdown to ensure that people who don't have water can be served with by these private companies?
Oh, all the regions, if you call any particular region now, they will tell you that before I had sent a circular asking them to take a register of all the tanker service providers in their regions and their contact numbers and the unit costs. So that in the event that we need to supply, like if you take Kolebu, for example, which is a strategic establishment, if we are unable to get water because Ouija is down, we could quickly ask a tanker service to do that. So in each of our regions, we have them. And I'm sure the citizens themselves are aware. Probably the complaint is that they were not factored as part of the essential service providers. And this is what probably we have to bring out for government to look at to see whether the tanker services can be asked to also move around to supply. And I'm sure that's the challenge the people might be.
But why were they not put in as essential service providers, Dr. Brima? All members of the executive are members. That means you can go to work. But the organizations which are supporting you to supply water cannot?
Sites are always acceptable. Normally, you are putting a very big national plan in place. Sometimes you flip from some issues don't come right. You get notice of them going forward. And once you notice that you needed to have grouped some people in and you didn't, then you take the corrective measures. So I'm sure with your medium and I speaking, my minister could be listening, probably will take it on board and make sure that the tanker services are grouped in. So it's not too late.
When will that happen, Dr. Brima?
You mentioned that you'll be speaking to my minister. So from here, I will also speak to her because she has the authority to speak to the next level so that we'll see how they can factor it in. I'm sure that the national security equally had called with NADMO talking about the tanker services also, so that when there's an emergency, they will also come in. So I'll call the few people to draw their attention that, look, this thing has come up.
We'll check back by end of day, Dr. Brima. But
no problem.
Very quickly, how do we know that the areas which are most in need are served? Because, for instance, we had calls from Katamanso. I'm seeing texts coming in as we speak from there. We've had calls from Osu. We've had calls from Medina Estates, Afienya, Michelle Camp, Old and New Ningo, and Spintex. So I know that there are lots of different areas, and we can't just pick them one by one. That would be a bit ad hoc. But what are you doing to ensure that the areas which are in need of the water are those who will be served by these tanker services?
And that is why we have put out the numbers. And if you indulge me, I'll try again to also...
Please go ahead.
To give out the numbers. Because our call center is working 24/7. Also, if you have an area that is not being served, and you think you should have been having water probably, I don't think you should not get water unless there's a technical problem like Nimbu, and then maybe the share camp people are talking about, because there's this 24 inches pipeline that had a problem. It's a metal thing. Our workshop has been working on it. Yesterday it's finished, so they started pumping water through it. And normally, once the pipe gets empty, it takes time to build up. So, new people should be expecting some water by the close of the day, I'm sure. And you call if you call the call center, so direct you to the appropriate region, and they will do that. The first number that I'll mention, I think you will indulge me.
Go ahead.
It's 055 51 23 393. 055 51 23 393. The second one is 055 51 55 524. 055 51 55 524. We also have a 020 number, 020 738 5088. 020 738 5088. Another one, 020 738 5089. We'll put out another statement today, which will contain some of these numbers and also the regional chief managers, the regional distribution managers, their numbers. So if you call and the call center is busy, you can quickly just fall on one of the regional chief managers of your area, and then they will attend to you.
Dr. Brahma, thank you very much. But before you go, I'm getting questions about how much it will cost to patronize the services of these tankers. Someone says, they've tracked in Community 25. We bought a trip of water in our 4,000 liter tank for 480 Ghana cedis yesterday. That's ABBA. Meanwhile, our monthly consumption is just 80 Ghana cedis. Can your office do something about the pricing of this water?
We are running a free market economy. We have our fixed prices for them, and the tariff for the tanker service is to ensure that the people who are not served, and most of them we always suspect could be vulnerable. Now it's like a privilege. We normally lower the unit costs of water, but you cannot follow them to the end point where they are going to sell it. It's just like the market women were taking advantage of this situation. You cannot follow them, and so we only can appeal to them that they should be moderate in the kind of level of profit they want to get. Otherwise, we don't regulate them apart from making sure that they sterilize their systems as regularly as possible. They come, you give them, and then they pay you. They go and they sell it the rate at which they want, and you might not even be able to track.
It's very understandable when you mention the fundamentals of free market economics, but one would believe, Dr. Brahma, that this case is quite unique because, again, you mentioned earlier that you are actually taking an inventory of all of these companies and you are treating them as the supplement or the complement of your work, so that they are now providing a basic public utility. If people out there are priced out, that means that they cannot get basic water to wash their hands in this COVID-19 era. Don't you think that together with the PURC, we cannot come up with some sort of, relevant pricing mechanism and even support their business in some way?
That's good. Like I discussed with a friend yesterday, we said our lives will never be the same after this coronavirus issue, because it has changed the way we do things. So this is one of the issues that will have to come aboard so that they will be properly regulated. That is what is supposed to be done. Regulation of that business. Once we didn't have that stringent regulatory measures in place for them, that's why they can do what they want. But going forward, it is good that we'll discuss with PURC to see what kind of regulation we can put there, because they become essential part of the water supply stream. And so we have to group them in and then regulate the activities and then make sure that people get the best out of them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brahma. And by the way, it's not all bad news. I just got a text from Ifo in Nigeria, who is congratulating you for making sure her water started flowing last night at Nigeria. She says, I know and understand these taps can't flow every blessed day. So we have a tank and we fill it well. so that when they close the taps, we still have water. Last night, water came in, our tanks were good. So there is some good work being done. Thank you.
Yes, it's even good. Some of your colleagues were in my house with the MP. When they wanted to ensure that Legon gets water, they saw the number of tanks I have in my house, the MD for Ghana Water Company, because I don't get 24/7. And the only way I can get 24/7 water for myself is to store when the pipes are running. And once the pipes are running and I store, Ghana Water Company water might not be flowing through the taps, but I'll be using Ghana Water Company water through my reservoir. So I will be getting 24/7. And that is how we are encouraging people in this case of demand supply management. We are just taking advantage, and the poor man always devises ways of surviving. And that is the instance we think we should begin to put into ourselves to make sure that we survive. Running water, we have brought out a circular that if they say you should use running water to wash your hands, it doesn't necessarily mean it should be tap water. Yesterday, I was just demonstrating to my children that I'm going to wash my hands, but they should fetch the water in a cup. Then they were pouring it on my hand whilst I was washing. I said the water is flowing. That's running water. They don't want you to put your hand in the container, wash while the dirt is still there, you are still cleaning it. So if they say running water, it doesn't necessarily mean the pipe should be running. So we have encouraged people, and there was a circular earlier on to encourage Ghanaians to even use the Veronica bucket. I'm sure we even put it out and then it has become very popular and the business is booming.
Dr. Bryma, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Dr. Clifford Bryma is Managing Director for the Ghana Water Company Limited. Now, the key points that you need to know is that if you are currently not getting flowing water to your homes, the fact is Ghana Water Company Limited cannot produce enough water to serve you. The stopgap measure is a tanker company. Now, of course, Dr. Bryma has mentioned that there are plans. $1 billion has been invested in the water supply in about 3 or 4 or 5 years. That could change. We are monitoring that situation. But that's the reality. We can't change that immediately. Now, the question is that water tanker companies were not in essential services. Dr. Bryma says that he's going to liaise with his minister and change that immediately. So by end of the day, we'll check and let's monitor together so that by tomorrow we'll know if indeed these water tanker companies can serve you. Finally, the pricing that these guys use, these water tanker companies use, may be worrying, and so he says that he's going to talk to the PURC so that we see if that price can be regulated slightly, so that you can get water which is affordable and also accessible. It's 6 minutes past 8. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM, where your questions answered. Do you still have a few on the back of your mind? Let us know. 0244 340 437. for. Dial star 700 hash now so you can browse and chill Zala on Vodafone. Now let me end this part of the conversation with a quick appeal to the water tanker company. We know you're running a business. We know you must pay your workers, meet your overheads, pay your bills. But water is an essential service, and especially in this time that we are fighting this COVID-19 crisis. Let's think about pricing the commodity moderately so that we can even provide water to low-income households. Provision of water should not be the reserve of people who live in estates. It should be available for everyone who needs it. So we know you're running a business, but we appeal to you. Be human and charge reasonably. Or should I say moderately? It's 10 minutes past 8. The Minister for Water and Water Resources and Sanitation, Cecilia Dapa, will join us next. Then we switch over to the Ministry of Information for that press on COVID-19. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to make a change? A new part of you journey your way to explore the things you never imagined. Without finding you're ahead of the race.
For a full briefing on this COVID-19 update.
And thank you for joining us here at the Ministry of Information for a quick update this morning on the COVID-19 response program that the Republic of Ghana is currently embarking upon. This morning's brief will be in 5 parts.